Welcome to NFL Championship Weekend Betting Pros. My name is Andrew Erickson, aka The Props Prophet, and today I'm coming at you with my favorite player props for Championship Weekend. All the best stuff for this NFL playoff slate. Look, last week we finished strong, 11-8. Let's keep it rolling. Before we look to build that bankroll as we get deeper into the NFL playoffs, if you want a chance to win a premium one-year subscription to BettingPros, your place to start betting smarter and not harder, all you have to do is subscribe to the BettingPros YouTube channel right now. Comment below this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Now, let's get to the top player props for Championship Weekend. Lions, we have 49ers, Ravens, Chiefs. Let's get it going. Starting things off, this Chiefs game against the Baltimore Ravens. Isaiah Pacheco over 14.5 rushing attempts. This one's plus 100 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, if you saw my prize picks video from earlier in the week on the Fantasy Pros show, you talked about how I like the Pacheco over at his rushing yards. That still reigns the same. Last week he had nearly 100 rushing yards, 97, averaged 6.5 yards per carry. He had a touchdown, a long run of 29 yards. He also caught one target for 14 yards. Edwards-Helaire had 2 carries. That was it. It's been Pacheco's backfield. He played 72% of the snaps last week, so I think he's going to continue to get fed here in this matchup. So I like the over on his rushing yards, and I like the over specifically on his attempts, 14.5. He's gone over this in 3 straight games and in 7 of his last 8 games. They're continuing to feed him in at plus 100 odds with the projection in the prop bet cheat sheet set at 16 carries. You have to be all over this player prop. You go check it out for yourself. Betting Pros, prop bet cheat sheet. Go check it out. You can see the projections yourself. Isaiah Pacheco has that flame emoji next to him. You need to get on this one because the Ravens' run defense can be run on. Look, since week 6, they've allowed 93 rushing yards per game to running backs with 4th highest yards per carry. 6 of the last 8 running backs have gone over 55 yards. So Chiefs are going to know they can run the ball on the Ravens. Pacheco's going to eat here. I don't think it's going to be equally as profitable to eat for the Lamar Jackson in the passing game for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson under 210.5 passing yards. This one's minus 114 over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Look, leaning towards the passing yardage under with Lamar, even though he's going to win MVP. Look, Chiefs defense has been elite. Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Allen have been held under 200 yards passing in back-to-back weeks against this defense. No quarterback their defense has faced in the last 4 weeks, their first-team defense, has gone for more than 200 yards passing through the air. 7 of the last 9 quarterbacks that they've faced have gone under their projected passing yardage. It's been since week 14 that they've allowed a quarterback to go over 200 passing yards. So going on the under on Lamar Jackson, because he's going to get done with his legs. So I'm going to go Lamar Jackson over 63.5 rushing yards, minus 114 over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Look, the prop, 63.5. He's gone over this in 3 of his last 5 games. And the Chiefs have faced the most rushing attempts per game and red zone touches to quarterbacks this season. So Lamar is going to be running early and often. If you look at also with this matchup, Chiefs have allowed 3 straight rushing overs to opposing quarterbacks. So we were all over the Josh Allen rushing attempts over last week. That flew over the total. So we're going to follow it up with Lamar Jackson going to hit his rushing yardage prop. Next up, we're going to go skip to this next game, which I actually like a lot more in terms of just general props. Not super into the props with the Ravens and Chiefs game, but I love this game for the 49ers and the Lions. Christian McCaffrey under 19.5 rushing attempts, minus 114 FanDuel Sportsbook. This is probably the only publication you're ever going to see someone betting on the under for CMC because he is the truth when it comes to fantasy football. But I got to be honest, guys, I cheated finding this prop. This came to me per the Betting Pros Player Prop Streak tool on the website. Look, this basically pointed out to me that CMC has gone under 19.5 carries in 7 straight games. 7 straight. And the matchup against the elite Lions run defense projects for an 8th straight under for CMC. They've not allowed running back to get 70 rushing yards against them all season. Fewest rushing yards allowed per game to running backs under 65, and no running back. 0 running backs that the Lions have faced this season have gone for 20 carries or more against them. No one's done it. So if McCaffrey was able to get to 20 carries, he would not only be breaking his own streak of 7 games without this, but he'd also be breaking the Lions' 18-game streak of not allowing a running back with 20 carries against them. So I'm taking the under. Brock Purdy, though, I'm taking the over on his passing yards, 272.5. This number has been bet up since it opened early this week. If you look at my prize picks video, I think that number was around 265. It's up to 272.5 passing yards. Look, it's weird because Purdy didn't play great last week, but people are not buying it. And neither am I, because You know why? He's playing the Lions defense that is just bleeding yards to quarterbacks. The Lions have allowed an absurd number of passing yards over the last 5 games, nearly 375 passing yards per game. Detroit has also allowed the most passing yards to quarterbacks over the last 2 months. So Purdy, he's been better at home, 252 passing yards in every single game at home this season. And just given the matchup, I think you can get him another boost for another 25 yards, even if Deebo Samuel isn't limited in any way, shape, or form. He's got other wide receivers, most notably Brandon Aiyuk, over 79.5 receiving yards, minus 115 ESPN bet. Look, Aiyuk is in the Mike Evans regression realm right now. Last week I had been pounding the chest, pounding the table for Mike Evans, doing both, pounding the chest and my chest for Mike Evans, and he just went absolutely nuclear against the Detroit Lions. Rinse and repeat here, folks. Brandon Aiyuk's coming off back-to-back bad games. He still had 6 targets last week, 17% target share. He played 100% of the snaps. And what have we seen all year from Brandon Aiyuk in his usage? He is the number 1 downfield threat for this 49ers passing game. And that is exactly how you have to attack this Lions defense that ranks first in air yards allowed and second in average depth of target faced. It's not a coincidence that Mike Evans had his nuclear game against this Lions defense. Rinse and repeat with Brandon Aiyuk over 79.5 receiving yards. And honestly, I've already done this. You can just alternate this up to 100 receiving yards because that's it is with Brandon Aiyuk. Look at his last 6 games. He's gone under 40 yards in 3 of them, and he's gone for 110 or more in the other 3 games. So Aiyuk, not really looked at as a boomer bust guy, but he really is a boomer bust player. And the fact that Deebo is banged up, the matchup is so good. I think this is whether you ladder bet it or you just take the over alternate at 100 receiving yards with Brandon Aiyuk, because this is just the game where he just goes absolutely off, especially with the game plan being more focused on Aiyuk, McCaffrey, and Kittle, with Deebo Samuel very iffy to play. He may not even be in the game plan even if he ends up suiting up for this matchup. Same thing can be said. George Kittle's going to get a boost. So I'm going George Kittle over 59.5 receiving yards, minus 114 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Look, he eats without Deebo Samuel, even more than Brandon Aiyuk potentially. 91 receiving yards per game in Purdy's 6 starts without Deebo Samuel, including last week. And Kittle's also gone over 60 receiving yards, 7 of his last 10 games, including 7 of the 49ers' 8 home games played this season. So Kittle, again, he's not someone you want to bet the receptions props on. We've been good about betting the unders on those, but receiving yards, like this guy picks up chunk yardage at so easily. So I just love the over on his receiving yards prop here against the Detroit Lions. Going to be more involved. Going to the Lions side of the things, Jared Goff over 255.5 passing yards. This number has fluctuated. I've seen it go up and down. I just like the over because this is how you attack the 49ers defense. I think that you attack them a little bit more through the air than necessarily on the ground. Goff has gone for 257 plus yards in 6 straight games, 270 or more in 5 of those 6 contests. He's on a current streak of 4 straight overs at 263.5 passing yards. So if you can find this number, FanDuel has the best number that I can find, 255.5 passing yards. Look, the 49ers just absorb so much volume. Like 4 of the last 6 quarterbacks they've faced completed 22 or more passes. 8 of 12 have hit the over on their completions props. So that's why you want to be going with Jared Goff and the over here. But I will not be taking the over with Jared Goff at his rushing yardage. Again, betting on quarterback rushing yardage is something I'm not really dabbled in, but as we get fewer and fewer games, I'm looking more into it. So Jared Goff under 1.5 rushing yards is what I want to go after. Last week, he went over this number. So maybe that's what's causing some people to back off of the number a little bit. He scrambled for 7 yards last week against a very blitz-heavy Todd Bowles defense. But that was Goff's first scramble since week 13. He is not going to run. He doesn't run. And the 49ers don't blitz. They have the 3rd lowest blitz rate this season. So I think this is an easy under smash, recency bias, completely fade what he did last week. What he did last week was so abnormal for what he usually does. And when you look at the 49ers, 7 of the last 9 quarterbacks that they faced have actually gone under their rushing yards projection. So Jared Goff, if you're doing these, same game parlays or these prize picks, pick'ems, slips, sleeper, underdog, etc., Jared Goff under 1.5 rushing yards. Is it the stone cold lock of the week? It might be. It might be the stone cold lock of the week. So Jared Goff, don't let us down. Win the game, but don't rush for 2 yards. If they win the game, maybe this is a good thing to parlay with like Lions money line or something like that, because if he's taking a knee, it's negative rushing yardage. So here we go. Not going to go under on this player, though. Amon-Ra St. Brown, over 7.5 receptions, plus 100 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Look, down game for the Sun God last week. Let us down. He had only 77 yards, 8 catches. He had 14 targets. He actually had a couple drops, so I think he could have come closer to that 80 whatever yardage he was kind of near that we needed. Still at a 33% target share. So I think he's going to bounce back big here. 49ers have allowed the 5th most catches to wide receivers this season. So I'm going right back to the Sun God. He has 7+ catches in 5 of his last 6 games. So taking the over the more than 7.5 catches for Amon-Ra this weekend. Same Lions offense, wide receiver looking again. Jameson Williams over 27.5 receiving yards, -115 DraftKings Sportsbook. Williams had 4 targets last week. Also had 78 air yards. He did play fewer snaps to Josh Reynolds, which you don't love to see when you keep betting on Jameson Williams, but he's just such a big play threat that the number is just so low that he can easily get this in one play. So, and again, he didn't play that much last week, but he still saw 4 targets and he still hit his receiving yards prop. So with it just so low again here, 27.5, 28.5, I just think that this is some low-hanging fruit to take advantage of in an offense that he's going to probably see more volume in this particular matchup than another traditional one where the Lions may be playing with a lead. Don't envision that. So if they're throwing the ball, they need big plays. Jameson Williams can be that guy. He's also gone for 40 or more yards in 6 of his last 8 games played. And now to the running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs, over 46.5 rushing yards, -115 over at BetMGM. Look, you got to take the over on Gibbs' rushing yards props this week. He's at least 40 rushing yards in every single road game the Lions have played this season. Every single one. He's also gone over 46.5 yards in 7 of his last 9 games played this season. So Jahmyr Gibbs, for me, is just such a smash spot for him. I like his anytime touchdown odds. I like the over on his total scrimmage yards. So if you can get that around 70.5, 75.5 rushing yards, or total all-purpose yards, I think that's a good bet as well. But if I had to pick one, I'm trusting in the Betting Pros prop bet cheat sheet. They said that the best highest EV play was the rushing yards, so that's what I'm going to go with, 46.5 rushing yards for Gibbs. David Montgomery, though, will not be going over on his rushing yards props. David Montgomery under 46.5 rushing yards, -114 over at FanDuel Sportsbook. 49ers are going to be a much tougher defense to run on than pass on, in my opinion. Aaron Jones was the first player in the last 51 games to rush for 100 yards against the 49ers run defense. So I expect their run defense to be a little bit better because it's really only explosive rushes that beat them. That's what beat them last week against Aaron Jones. Before Jones' performance, the 49ers had allowed fewer than 50 rushing yards to 7 of the last 8 running backs that they had faced. And the only over that time was by James Conner, which came on another explosive rush. So the explosive running style that the 49ers are bad against, that plays more into the strengths of Jahmyr Gibbs, who ranks third in the NFL in breakaway rate at 38%, versus Montgomery, who has a grand total of 1 carry for 15 yards or more since week 13. That is 1 times, checking my notes, last 8 games, he has gone over 15 yards on 1 rushing attempt. That's 1 in his last 110 carries, 5%. So again, Gibbs is the explosive playmaker. That is not David Montgomery. Yes, he may score a touchdown or 2 or 3 because that's what he does, but this is not a David Montgomery game, folks. So I'm going to pound the under on Montgomery's 48.5 rushing yards prop, 46.5 wherever you find the best line. Shop the best lines in the NFC title game. It's Gibby week, folks, not David Montgomery week. That's going to wrap my favorite player props for conference championship weekend. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, share with all your friends, and be sure to follow me over on the Betting Pros app. You can see all my bets for championship weekend, all the player props I have in there, all the futures that I've been putting in, having tons of fun as we tie a bow on this NFL season. You can tail my bets, you can fade my bets, you can do whatever you feel is right. And of course, as always, you can always go check out the Betting Pros prop bet cheat sheet to find more of your favorite player props or all the NFL matchups coming up in the NFL playoffs. You can also see my prize picks video that's over on the BettingPros Youtube channel, where you can see more of my analysis on some other player props specific to the prize picks platform. And as always, before you go, if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, your place to start betting smarter and not harder, all you have to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now. Come up below this video, and that is it. Announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Thanks for watching, and good luck championship weekend.